Hello everyone! Today I'll be presenting an empirical study titled Visualizing Emotion in Support of Patient Physical Communication. And before I start my presentation, let me give you a quick overview of my table of contents. My report is divided into many parts, and now we will move to the first part about this article. This study was conducted by Huma, Suishan, Klein Lawson, Wei Wang, and Yi Hongzhang, and was published in the Behavior and Information Technology under Taylor and Francis, and the publication date is 12 July 2022. And now we will move to the outlines of the research. Let's start with the research focus. The EMVIS study looks at how showing emotions with technology can help doctors communicate with patients more empathically. Now, for the research objectives, this study has three main goals. First, to find out what makes emotional communication difficult in medical talks. Second, to design and build EMVIS using facial recognition. And third, to evaluate how well users, both doctors and patients, accepted the system and how it affected their emotional connection in real situations. Finally, the background insights show why this study matters. In real life, doctors work under pressure and often don't notice how patients really feel. This lack of emotional awareness can quicken empathy and trust in healthcare communication. Now let's talk about the research design. The study used three-stage mixed method approach for data collection. The researchers used interviews, user testing, and TAM-based questionnaires. This mix helped them gather both quantitative and quantitative data for a full picture of user experience. When analyzing the data, they use thematic analysis for interview responses and statistical analysis for the surveys. These methods help measure emotion, usability, and satisfaction with EMVIS. Finally, the study is grounded in several theoretical frameworks. Okay, let's move to the main findings. The study found that both doctors and patients had positive reactions to EMVIS and also showed promise as a training tool to help medical workers learn empathy. The research also pointed out some challenges. Doctors often have too much work and too little time, so it's hard to notice subtle and emotional cues. EMVIS also has technical limits and small sample size. It didn't fully discuss privacy or cultural concerns in emotional data collection. In practice, EMVIS can be used to train empathy skills for doctors and medical students, helping them to communicate better and build trust with patients. So now we will move to the reason of choosing. I chose this article because it connects two things that people often think are opposites: technology and empathy. We usually see technology as something cold, logical, and emotionless, but this study completely changes that view. It shows that technology can actually bring emotions back into human communication. The research also shows a great balance between technical innovation and human connection, which are both important in modern healthcare and in society in general. As a communication management student, I'm especially inspired by this because it links directly to my field. In communication, just like in healthcare, we need to understand emotions, behavior, and needs to communicate effectively. The study helps me see how emotion visualization can improve not only in medical communication, but also in media, marketing, and public relations. And now we will move to the strengths of the research. One of the biggest strengths of this study is that it focuses on a real problem in modern healthcare. It turns technology into a bridge for empathy, not a barrier. Another strength is that the study's ideas go beyond medicine. Its finding can be useful in many fields that depend on communication. Finally, the research promotes human-centered innovation. Instead of replacing human emotions, it uses technology to support empathy and compassion. However, this research has some limitations. One of the biggest limitations of the research is that it covers only a limited range of emotions. Because MVIS relies mostly on facial recognition, it might oversimplify emotions and miss subtle or misses feelings. Second, the study used a small and unbalanced group of participants, only 37 healthcare providers, and 31 patients, with many being female and psychologists. This makes it hard to apply the research to a wider population. Lastly, the research does not discuss enough about ethics and privacy. Since EMVAS uses AI and facial recognition, issues like data storage, patient consent, and emotional safety are very important. Okay, and now we will talk about the evaluation of the argument. Overall, the authors present their ideas in a clear and logical way. Each part connects smoothly, giving the paper a strong and organized flow. The study also shows a good balance between theory and evidence. The author links their theories with real data from interviews, prototype testing, and user feedback. However, one weakness in the argument is an over reliance on technology to solve emotional problems. While EVMIS helps visualize emotions, true empathy still depends on human feelings and understanding, things that AI can't fully capture. Finally, the research keeps a human centered and social relevant focus. Even though it uses advanced AI, the main goal is not automation, but better emotion, understanding, and connection. In case you don't want to lose 5 points, don't forget this important part, Harvard references. And that's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention and thank you for your listening. Bye bye.